Normally, we are wowed by the things that are there, especially when we are going from India or some other place, right? And when we see the buildings, we see the cars, we see the people around, we are wowed looking at the glam and all that, right? And when Srila Prabhupada actually went to US, he went to Boston, and he stepped down of the cargo ship, and he looked around, he saw huge buildings, and he saw people, and you know what he felt? He felt actually very sad and compassionate. He felt very bad and compassionate, thinking that what are these people doing? Yeah, they do not have any idea about spiritual life, and they are stuck in the cycle of birth and death. That is the compassionate nature of a sadhu, right? And when we go, you see our consciousness is totally different, right? And at that point of time, Srila Prabhupada actually wrote a letter or a song, we say, it's Markina Bhagavad Dharma, in which Srila Prabhupada he's writing a song to Lord Krishna, and he says, Lord, I don't know why you have got me here. I'm sure you have some plans. So why don't you actually empower me or speak through me so that I can better the life of these people in US? Right? And you know what really happened, right? When Srila Prabhupada started preaching the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita in the US, started preaching the benefits of the holy name, right? The reporters in US used to say, there was a caption which says that there is an Hare Krishna explosion, right? There were so many people uh, coming from different parts of the country who were actually taking this wisdom, who understood this wisdom, practiced this wisdom, and completely transformed their life, right? And this is something that only an empowered devotee of the Lord can do. At the age of 70, when the rest of us, or probably us or someone else, we can only think about taking a cozy home with our family, enjoying a retired life. But Prabhupada had everything. He could actually stay in Vrindavan. He was a very revered scholar and a philosopher who was well respected in Vrindavan. He didn't have to go at the age of 70 in a cargo ship, facing 2 heart attacks to preach the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. Right? So he actually, what he did was, he actually revived the eternal faith. Now, when I say revive eternal faith, does it mean that it was lost? Does it mean it was lost? We did our last session, the lost wealth. You heard about the invaders that came into India, yeah, and you saw that the Islamists actually came into India and what all destruction they did, right? They didn't use much of their brains. They were totally into destructing and forcing things, right? If you see, they were looting temples, destroying temples, breaking the deities, right? And these were the things that the Islamists did, right? Now that didn't damage us to a big extent, actually. The big part of the damage was actually done by the Britishers. And when we actually see that, when we actually we went through some of the slides last week, and we understood how Britishers understood the reason behind the success of Vedic culture, the Vedic tradition, how the people of India were so strong, right? And they understood that just by destroying temples, we won't be able to break the backbone of India. They wanted to actually adulterate the education that was provided to us in gurukuls and various other forms, right? That's why they introduced the Indologists, right? We know about Indologists, right? These are the people who learn Sanskrit or various other languages. In this case, they started misinterpreting the Vedic text. Somehow they wanted to degrade Vedic text. You saw the different kinds of prizes that they were giving out to the people, right? Whoever can refute, they will take out a verse. Whoever can refute this verse will be paid so and so pounds. So our own people used to go and find out reasons to refute that particular verse. right? So subtly, they started actually they changed the entire education system. Right? We also know about so many things that that was there in our Vedic scriptures, right? And it was never came out. We only knew it at that point of time. Some of us knew, some of us didn't. When we actually went through the slides, we knew that it was already mentioned in Vedic scriptures. Somehow, the people of India never cared about patenting it, right? It was only them who actually came and patented, and it's known by their name. Even when you take out a textbook, it's normally a foreigner name that we see, right? We don't see an Indian name anywhere. So the faith was totally destroyed, if you see. And to a certain extent, and that's the reason that Srila Prabhupada actually wanted to regain and rebuild that faith. And it's only because of him that we are able to discuss this topic of Bhagavad Gita here. Eh? So let's actually get into the session today. So there are three ways to acquire knowledge. First one is Pratyaksha Praman, second one is Anumana Praman, and the third one is Shabda Praman. Yeah? These are the three ways of actually understanding any kind of knowledge. Now let's actually look into what are these pramans. Yeah? Now, well, when we go into Pratyaksha Praman, seeing is believing. Now, you would have heard so many people when we actually go out, when we actually preach, even some religious people with not much information about Vedic scriptures, when we go out and start preaching about God, people generally come up with this question: have you seen God? How do you know this is all true? Do you face this question? We all face this question. If you show me God, then I'll believe it. That is Pratyaksha Praman. Seeing is believing. Right? Now, when some people ask such questions, we have to understand what is their qualification and what is the proof that they need. So at certain point of time, there are proofs that will actually come within their sensory organs or their perception is the truth that they can believe. Beyond the sensory organs, what they can perceive, they can't believe that. Right? So let's go into scriptures and find out how we can refute this, how we can say that this kind of knowledge is not the perfect kind of knowledge. So when we look at the scripture says there are four kinds of defects in human beings. Karana apatava, which means imperfect senses. Pramada, which means illusioned. Brahma, which means we can commit mistake. And vipralipsa means cheating purposes or cheating propensity. Now, what we'll actually do, we'll just remember it's good to remember the Sanskrit names also. Just remember the Sanskrit. So we'll actually go to get into each detail and find out how it's imperfect. Okay. So let's look at Karana Apatava, imperfect senses. So when I say that seeing is believing, a lot of people say that, right? They believe a lot of things that you can acquire through senses. What are the five knowledge acquiring senses? Can anyone tell me? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. Five. Let's try and see if we can refute all this. If we see if refute in the things that these have got limitations, all these senses that I'm talking about. So when it comes to our eyes, when you see a sun also, a normal person sees the sun. It looks like a small globe radiating light, but actually it's a very huge personality, right? It's a very huge entity. When you go into a dark room, there are things kept in the room. It's pitch dark. Do you see anything? Do you see anything? You don't see anything, right? Only when you turn on the light that we understand that there is an almirah, there are tables, there is a TV, right? In a pitch dark room, you don't see anything. When it comes to, we have a certain range through which only through that we can actually see. 400 to 700 millimicron is what science says. That is the range within which we can see. There are various other animals and insects actually which we can see beyond that. You see dogs, see cats, right? Their senses are much in terms of seeing. It's higher than it's not as much limited as human beings, right? And this way we can say that acquiring knowledge through eyes or whatever is limited, right? So seeing is believing. There are so many things in life we don't see, yet we believe, right? So let's look at ears. What about ears? Hearing. Do we hear everything? So there's something called as, in physiotherapy, there's something called as ultrasound, right? Actually, if you keep it very close to your ear also, we can't hear. But it's actually emitting sound, right? So we can't hear that. But if you see bats, they emit. They are blind, I think, and they emit certain voice, and it hits a certain range within the ultrasound range, and it reflects back. And when it reflects back, that's when bat knows there is an obstacle, and then they move out. If you see, there are certain animals which have got higher amount of hearing. So we understand that hearing also has got limitations, right? Now, what is the next one? Nose. Let's take nose. So when it comes to nose also, when you go into a hospital, there is that medicine smell, no? The hospital smell, right? And it stays. But after you there for 30 minutes, 35 minutes, do you get the smell? You don't get that smell. But does that mean the smell is not there? Still there, right? So we have to understand even the nose, when it comes to nose also, it has got certain limitations. And what is the next one? Tongue. So tongue also, let's see. I'll give you a simple example. If you take gulab jamun, eating gulab jamun, a very sweet gulab jamun, I take a bite, and after eating gulab jamun, I'm having a milk with sugar. How will the milk taste? Tasteless. But there is sugar, right, in it? Why don't we feel that? So again, getting knowledge through these 5 acquiring senses also is not the right way, because these have got limitations. Even when we feel in terms of touch, let's talk about touch. So what happens when I have a warm hand? I touch the water. What does it feel? Cold. And when I touch the cold hands in the water, what does it feel? Warm. Right? You see that? So again, this is not the right way to get knowledge, because our senses are imperfect. There are certain limitations. So that's why we take a lot of pride when we say that you show me this, then only I'll believe it. But we have to understand that when it comes to human beings, we have certain limitations, right? And that's one of the reasons that this particular way of acquiring the knowledge is not the right way, or you won't get the complete understanding, right? So let's look at, so we found out imperfect senses, karana, apatava. Let's look at illusion, pramada. Okay, I'll show you some images. Stare into it. It's moving. It's not moving. Stare at it nicely. Oh, come on, it has to move. So it's moving, right? Okay. What about this one? Stare into it. Rotating. Right? Does, right? What about this one? No. Come on, come on. Rotating, it'll rotate. Come on, don't prove me wrong. Is it? Yes, focus on one part. What about this one? It is, right? Looks like Mahabharata war, right? So it's actually, these are all static JPEG images only. When you actually look into it, it feels like it's moving. Right? So one thing is that we get easily illusioned also. So even when we are, you see that, right? When you are driving on a sunny day, right? You're driving your car and you see at a distance, you feel that there is water on the road. Do you feel that? Is there water on the road? Could be if it's raining. It's a sunny day. Do you feel that? There is water on the road ahead, but there is no water, right? So we get easily illusioned as well. The next one, committing mistakes. So we commit mistakes, a lot of mistakes, right? So initially in science, few hundred years ago, brain was considered to be an organ just to cool blood. That was the functionality of brain at that point of time, as per scientists. Now imagine if we lived with that thought right now, right? Brain is not required at all. I can put some other cooler for my blood, right? And there are, and then there was pituitary glands also. We talk of pituitary glands, right? They said that it's a useless tissue in the body at that point of time. Useless tissue in the body. And even when we talk about science also, um, let's look at few years back, maybe 20, 30 years back, right? We had 9 planets. Did we have 9 planets? Pluto was considered a planet. Now it's not considered, right? But then it was, because I remember we used to study. You see, people have tendency to commit mistakes also, right? So that is one thing we have to understand: the tendency to commit mistakes. Next is cheating propensity. Now, when we go, because we have to understand, in 1912, there's a personality called Charles Dawson. So everyone says that when you look at the Darwin theory, everyone says that we actually evolved from apes, right? But it's still considered as a speculation, and it's not a word used by me. Darwin himself, in his book, says it is speculation. So anyone comes with a better theory, we can put that forward, right? So there was a personality called Charles Dawson in 1912, right? He wanted to actually prove, because there was nothing that proved that a man was evolved from ape. So there was a missing link. So what this personality did was he took a human skull, he filed it, and made it look almost like an ape. So in the first instance, it looked like an ape is actually transforming into a human being. But after a few years, they found out that he had actually cheated. Right? So a lot of it, we also have this cheating propensity. We also have. So right now we come here and we greet each other, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. On the road, if someone just crosses our car, we would have probably abused him, right? We abused him, and then right now, once we come inside, we are all Hare Krishna. You all agree? We also have different phases, right? There is cheating propensity or vipralipsa that is there within us. So we can't actually depend on our senses, right? Because they are imperfect. Okay. So with all these defects, how can we say that seeing is believing? Right? Even for certain things in the sky also, we can't completely depend on our eyes, right? There are certain things that we need to add on, probably a telescope. Even to look at a certain thing, we use microscope, right? So we can't completely depend on our eyes. right? There are certain things that are added to supplement our understanding, right? So we can't completely just say, I have to, you show me God, then I'll believe it. That's the wrong way of understanding, right? So let's look at the next one is, we understood Pratyaksha Praman, right? And let's look at Anuman Praman. Anuman Praman means guesswork or understanding through inferences also. Uh, in this also, these are five or six people who are actually totally blind. Okay, they're totally blind and they are actually put in front of an elephant, and everyone is touching a part of an elephant. Right. The first one is actually touching the tusk of the elephant, and he feels that is an like an arrow. Another person is touching the trunk of the elephant, and he feels just like a snake. Another person is embracing the leg of the elephant, and he feels it's like a bark of a tree. Another person is touching the tail of the elephant, and he feels it's like a rope. But actually, what is it? It's an elephant. So this guesswork will not help us as well. When it comes to Anuman Praman, which is called guesswork is also not help us. There are times, right, when we are in our house and we hear a lot of shouting from our neighbor house. And we think, oh God, they are fighting, right? Or it's yelling. It almost looks like someone is going to kill someone. And then we, being the nosy neighbor, we actually knock on the door. And what we see? Husband and wife is watching TV. Right? What were we guessing? They were fighting. Right? So even guesswork will not get us the perfect knowledge. Right? Now, when it comes to, I just spoke about Darwin's theory. This is the same theory that I was talking about. It's still considered to be a speculation, and it's not my words; it's Darwin's words itself. But the reason why we believe it, or why it's pushed or considered to be a gospel truth right now, is because it has been pushed into our education system, and we have been just reading about it, right? And there is no better theory that is more convincing than the Darwin. So scientists also says, right, if there is a better convincing theory, put it up, right? So that is Darwin's theory. Now there is third kind of acquiring knowledge, which is the Shabda Praman. What is Shabda Praman? Shabda Praman, Vedic scriptures. So let's look into validity from Vedic scriptures. This is the right way of understanding knowledge. The first, and in that we have axiomatic truth, predictions, and we have manual. So let's look into this. So axiomatic truth, what does it mean? It means self-evident theory. It does not need any truth. It does not need any proof. It's already self-evident, right? So in this, what is a point? You know, point, right? What is it called? What is the definition of a point? Point is a circle without a radius. Okay, that's the definition of a point, and that's considered to be a self-evident theory, right? So there is a imaginary number I also you would have studied, which can't be plotted, right? Imaginary number I, but it's still considered to be an evident truth. Yes, there are multiple things actually. I don't want to go back because it was a nightmare for me. Today, I don't want to go back to that and read, right? Uh, so those are the things that are axiomatic truth. So when people ask what is the proof of Vedas, right? What is the proof that what is written in Vedas does exist? So what is the answer? The proof of the Vedas is in the Vedas itself. The proof of the pudding is in the tasting, right? So one is axiomatic truth. Second one. So you remember this, nucleus, protons, electron, neutrons. We all studied this. Yeah. So if you see, scientific theories are always changing. If you see, from the last 100 years or 200 years, whatever they were, it has always been changing. So when you look at 19th century, actually Dalton came with the theory that atom is the smallest particle. Then there was someone called as Rutherford who came that inside atom there is electron, protons, and various other things, right? And it kept on changing. There was proton and neutron, and then there is Schrodinger who actually gave a dual theory, which I don't understand even now, right? But if you see that the science has every time been changed every time. But in Vedic texts, when you go into the Vedic text, it has never changed, right? It has remained the same, right? And one of the best ways why we say Shabda Praman. Yes, Modi, you have a question? Okay, right. We don't know that. So when we look into, and I'll give you an example, I will give you a understanding from Bhagavad Gita. One of the reasons why Krishna says that the Vedic knowledge or this transcendental wisdom has to be understood in parampara, evam parampara praptam, right? Krishna says that it has to be understood through parampara. If you don't understand through parampara, you, me, or someone else can actually write Bhagavad Gita and give us different interpretations. Even in right now, if you look into in the market, there are thousands of versions of Bhagavad Gita written by I don't know who, so many other people, right? One of the reasons that Krishna differentiated that if you understand it through parampara, then you get the right essence of the Vedic knowledge. And we understood in our previous classes there are 4 different kinds of paramparas, right? There is Brahma Madhav parampara, Rudra parampara, Sri parampara, and there is Kumara parampara. These are the 4 paramparas, and it is said the knowledge flows from disciplic succession. So from Lord Krishna to Brahma to Narada and to various other personalities in that lineages, and it has come. If you read our Bhagavad Gita as it is also, I think it's before the introduction section, there are 32 acharyas, names of 32 acharyas who have come into that parampara, right? And that's when we understand that it is not interpretation, we are just trying to pass the knowledge from how it was told by Lord Sri Krishna. And that's one of the reasons that Lord Sri Krishna actually mentioned that you have to read it through parampara, right? And another way to understand if the things are true, yeah, I know it is very easy to say this. I'm saying this based on scriptures itself. Another way to understand is by actually reading and practicing it, right? You don't go with the face value that I'm saying this. Another way to understand anything. So when we say we are scientific, one of the things that we have to apply also, right? Just by reading, we will probably get knowledge. But to get some kind of realization or to understand if it really works, we need to apply it in our daily life. Right? And that's when we even when it comes to chanting, Krishna says that we have to do chanting, we have to bring focus our mind. Right? He says it's through detachment and it's through practice. So we have to practice. What happens is we actually give up. 1 week we do, and then we say we don't, it doesn't work at all. It's a constant practice. So many millions of lifetimes we have been doing various things, various nonsense activities in our life. And at this point of time, we are actually listening to Bhagavad Gita and trying to understand the benefits of chanting the holy names of the Lord. And within 1 week, we want results. It will take time. There are so many anarthas that is there in ourselves for that to come out. What happens when you go into really a dusty room and start brooming, dust starts flying, right? There are times that people have told me that, Babuji, I started chanting, and after chanting, I'm getting even more worse thoughts. So that's what is happening. There is a lot of churning that is happening inside, right? When the churning happens, naturally, the dust will come out. Similar way, when it's fan, right? When you turn off the fan, does it stop immediately? It takes time. So we have to give it time. And one of the best ways to understand if Vedic things work, I'll tell you more as to why it's more scientific. Now I'll allow people talk a lot about if it's scientific, that's only when I believe it, right? That is true. We should always do that. It should be rational, it should be logical. Then only we believe it. Right? It's very important. Even the kids right now, if they ask you certain things, they're not looking for answers like my parents did, so I'm doing it. Do you think that will convince him? Yes, Prabhuji. Is it related to this, or we can park the question later on? Yes, yes. See, actually, Vedavyas, when he spoke, this was actually passed down to four paramparas only. That's the four paramparas that I'm talking about, right? Vedavyas is Lord Krishna's incarnation himself, right? Literary incarnation of Lord Krishna is Vedavyas. So that's one of the reasons when it comes to Bhagavatam also, it is all written by Vedavyas only. And these were different lineages that came through, that was passed down from Vedavyas itself. The Vedavyas wrote, and it was passed down to Brahmaji, Lord Shiva, to Mata Lakshmi, and the Kumar Sampradaya. And that's the same thing that is followed, being coming through the parampara. Yeah. So, what I was saying, scientific theories are always changing. Let's get back to this. If there are any questions, we'll address those once our session is done. Okay. So, Vedic scriptures are a body of complete and perfect knowledge. So, it is said in Vedic, there's a Vedic challenge also. If any part of the Veda is proved wrong, incomplete, or contradictory, then one can reject the entire body of Vedic knowledge. Right? Vedic knowledge never changes. It has stood the test of time. Modern science, if you actually see modern science, is actually confirming the Vedic truths. Right? And we'll look into that, okay? Can anyone see this? What is this? Cow tongue, right? A lot of people actually say yak, chi, and all, right? But in Vedic times and all, right? If you see, a lot of people actually, for purifying the house, or even for cooling the house, they actually used to paste the cow dung, right? Even outside the veranda, they used to actually paste the cow dung. You know why? It was like a repellent for mosquitoes also. Right? And modern science is only confirming it right now that there are antiseptic properties in cow dung. Now, if you see, there are from cow dung, we have soaps that are made of cow dung, shampoos that are made of cow dung, the medicines that are made of cow dung. Right? And cow dung is given so much importance, it's considered to be holy. When it comes to scriptures also, any kind of stool or excreta is considered to be unholy. If I go to the restroom, I have to take a bath before I go into the altar because it's considered unholy. But it's only the cow dung that is given a lot of importance in the Vedic scriptures. Right? And the Vedic scriptures, they used to, even when it comes to the washing of the altar or cleaning of the deities also, we use cow dung, a cow urine, because that is considered to be pure. That is the only thing that is considered. But if you see other ways, we have to understand that anything other than this is considered to be very unholy. Right? This one, Earth. 100, 200 years or 300 years back, I don't know. The sailors never used to go beyond a certain point. They felt that if we go beyond a certain point, we'll fall down. Right? It is only after later Kepler or Copernicus came and they said that Earth is actually spherical or round in shape. But if you see in Shastra, it was always mentioned that it's called Bhugol. The science is actually confirming what is already there in the Vedic scripts. Right? It is always called as Bhugol or Bhuloka. Right? So when it comes to plants, it was only a few hundred years ago that they understood that plants have life. But in the Vedic scriptures, it is said, we always knew that. We would have probably done this kind of experiment in our school also, right? To understand if plants have life, we actually sow a seed and we keep it near the balcony, and wherever the sunlight comes, it goes actually direct. The plant actually goes towards the sunlight side, right? And we don't unnecessarily cut plants also or trees, right? So it was always mentioned in the Vedic life that plants also have lives. Embryology. I think we spoke about this last time, right? And in Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 31st chapter, there is a detailed description of what really happens to the fetus, right? Right, when the sperm and the ovum comes together, the first day what it happens, the third day what it happens, first week what it happens, right? Not just the way the baby is growing when the limbs come out, not just the way the babies are growing. It talks about the consciousness development within the child. But tell me, which science talks about this? I mean, right now we have sonography, and that's when we understand how the baby is growing, right? During that time, did we have this? How such a detailed description of what really is happening, right? And these are some of the things that I know. There is, when it comes to chemistry, physics, metallurgy, there are so many things in Vedic scriptures. Just for presentation purpose, we have just put it temporarily. Another thing we have to understand Vedic scriptures, why we should believe it. Vedic scriptures not only just talks about the past, present, it talks about the future also. Right? There are so many predictions that are made in Vedic scriptures. There is prediction of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is an avatar of Lord Krishna. Not many people know about this. Right? Lord Chaitanya is an avatar of Lord Krishna who appeared in Navadvip in West Bengal 550 years ago. Not many people know about this. One of the reasons is because we don't read scriptures, right? And this mention is was always there. Buddha, prediction of Lord Buddha adventing was always mentioned in scriptures, right? To where he'll be born, the parents' name, the place where he'll be born, everything is mentioned accurately. You know who this is? Chanakya. Mention of Chanakya is also there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Chanakya Niti, everyone knows Chanakya Niti, right? Mention of Chanakya is also there. Let's look at some of the empires. This is mention of King Ashoka is also there in Srimad Bhagavatam. And these were all written 5,500 years back. Talk about Srimad Bhagavatam here. Mention of Jesus Christ is also there in Brahma Vaivarta Puran. Okay, because these are some of the things you can actually have given the shloka number also. You can actually take down the shloka number too if you want to check also. Right? For anything you need, and we have put that here. Right? So we have to understand there are so many things that is mentioned in Bhagavatam. Even when it comes to Kalki Bhagwan, who says that Lord says that he'll advent as Kalki Bhagwan at the end of the Yuga. That is also mentioned. Where he will be born in a village called Sambhala to a Brahmin parent. And it's mentioned. The place, the parents, everything is mentioned. Right? So these are another few things that is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. These are called predictions only. So please repeat after me. Vitam eva kalo mridam janmachara gunodaya dharmanyaya vyavasthayam karanam balam eva hi. Can someone read?
Alone will be considered the sign of a natural birth, proper behavior, and punctuality. And law and justice will be applied only on the basis of one power.
Yes. Do you see this now? Do you see this one? And this was mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. See, as and when Kali Yuga progresses, things will be grosser and grosser. That's why people don't believe in subtle things of life. In Vedic times, people used to understand they have certain limitations. And not just the grosser, they used to understand the subtler things in life as well. They used to have faith in them. But as we progress in Kali Yuga, that's why we say, no, seeing is believing. Only if you show me, I'll believe it. But in Vedic times, they used to understand that they have limitations. Right? There is a nice analogy that is given by Srila Prabhupada. He says there are two frogs. One frog is in the Pacific Ocean, another frog is in a well. So these are both are friends. Okay, the frog that is there in the Pacific Ocean once comes and meets the frog in the well. And the frog in the well asks, how are you living? How is the place that you're living? He says, it's very big. This is nothing considered. This fellow says, bigger than this, bigger than the well that I'm living. Maybe like 2 or 3 wells bigger than. No, it's much bigger. Much bigger. I don't believe it. Maybe maximum 10. So, see, the way he can't perceive something beyond this. He says 10. He says it's much, much vast. I live in the ocean. So we are like, if we are only thinking that whatever we perceive through our sensory organs is only right, we are like the frog in the well. When we look into the slides, we understand that there are certain limitations. Right? And with that limitation, it's not easy for us to acquire that kind of knowledge. Right? Let's move to another shloka. Dampatye biruchir hetur mayeva vyavaharika tritve punsve chahiratir vipratve sutram evahi. Can someone read, please?
Man and woman will live together maybe because of superficial attraction, and success in business will depend on the womanliness, manliness will be judged according to one's expertise in sex, and a man will be known as a mana just by his wearing it.
Yes. Do you see that now? Do you see that? Yeah. Actually, common in Bangalore and all. It's common now, right? So these were the things that is already mentioned in our scriptures. So one of the reasons that we should believe in scriptures is not just because the truth has stood the test of time, right? Anything that you build your faith on, right, should have a strong foundation, right? Even when it comes to science, but you have to understand science also keeps changing. So that's again not a strong foundation, right? So when it comes to Vedic knowledge, there is nothing that has been changed. It has stood the test of time, and everything that is mentioned is coming right only, even when it comes to predictions. Right? So I was talking about Kalki Bhagwan, right? And this is the mention that is there in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, Chapter 2, verse number 18. The Lord Kalki will appear in the home of the most eminent Brahmana of Sambala village, the great stone, Vishnu Yasa. That's the father's name. It's already mentioned. But again, Kalki, when it comes to Kali Yuga, you know how many years Kali Yuga goes on for?
4,32,000.
4,32,000. Now, how many years we have passed?
5,000.
That's 5,000 years. And
So wondering.
that's our wondering. Yes, yes. That's what 5,000 years only. We are scared seeing the halat of the right the society. Imagine 4,29,000 more years. Right. That's why we say that when it comes to spirituality, we need to take it very seriously. Right. That's why they say we should not enter the Gaur Kali Yuga season. It is said in Shastra the first 10,000 years is the golden period where you will have association of devotees. After 10,000 years, we will not have that. So imagine, Akal, we will be probably with those people in the Gaur Kali Yuga time. So that's why in Shastra it is said that we should take this very seriously. Whatever we are doing, we should do it with determination. We should be resolute. That's what Krishna says. Resolute. If we take it as time pass and something that is helping us calm our mind, then we will only be in that stage. We should actually go beyond that. We should not be happy with comfort. That is what happens. No, people generally in our office also. Why do people for a long time don't change their job? You know, it feels comfortable. Going out, looking for a job, don't know how the next boss is uncomfortable. Here, I'm getting a decent salary. Job also I know, people also I know, I'm comfortable. But that should not be the case when it comes to spirituality also. Just by coming Sunday, listening to me talk, hearing, this is all good. But we should go beyond this. The happiness that is experienced in spirituality, we have just experienced a tiny bit. Imagine if you fully immerse yourself in this. What is the kind of happiness? Just by licking the bottle of honey, you won't get the taste of honey, right? You need to open the lid, put a spoon inside, and then taste. Right? Vedic scriptures require no proof. From last year, I think, I don't know why I have put Gulab Jamun picture. But anyways, Vedic scriptures require no proof. Right. So we have to understand one thing. When stalwarts are saying that this works, stalwarts like Madhavacharya, Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya. Now, these were not people who are foolish people, right? They are exalted devotees. Lord has personally reciprocated to these devotees. When these people are saying that Bhagavad Gita works, Srimad Bhagavatam works, still we don't have faith. See, for anything in life, we need to put some kind of faith. And we'll come to that, okay? A little later. Right? So Vedic scriptures require no proof. Rajavidya Rajaguyam Pavitram Idamuktamam Pratyakshavagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartam Avyayam. Summary, please.
Knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of self by realizing it. It is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed.
Yes. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So this has been told by Bhagavan himself in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse number 2. See, when it comes to Vedic scriptures, nothing has changed. Sri Krishna, he gave the first knowledge, first time when he gave knowledge to the sun god. Millions of years back, he said, he was one, he has given the knowledge. And the same knowledge I am giving to you, Arjuna, he says. So nothing has changed. Millions of years back, Lord gave. And 5,000 years back, Lord gave to Arjuna. So it was always been the same. And Krishna says, and this is the highest kind of education, highest kind of knowledge. Huh? And then it says, by performing this, it gives you everlasting joy. Everlasting joy. That's why I say When it comes to spirituality, we should take it a little more seriously, right? We've taken one step now. We should not be scared to take the next step. We should at least try, and that is very important. Now, the next question probably you will have is, all right, Prabhuji, you told us all this, but why should we put faith in our scriptures? Faith is very important, right? Now, normally, when you look into a normal world, people say faith is only attached to something called as religion. Have you seen that? Only when it comes to religious activities, they say faith or blind faith. But if you look into normal life, our life, we actually put faith in a lot of things. Blind faith. Faith is an integral part of our life. I'll show you. Shaving. Imagine you're going to the barber. Yeah, you're submitting yourself. Right? You want to shave your beard off. And this is the position that we take. And he has got this sharp knife. We don't know what has happened to him, what his mindset is. Have we done any kind of check before we went to the barber? How is your state of mind? Did you pick a fight with anyone? Right? What we do? We just lay down there and he's shaving. What happens if he snaps? But we have some faith that he will do his job. I'm paying him. Are we putting faith there? Yes. Aeroplanes. See, at least when you go in bus along, even in car, we can at least see the driver. Right? At least. Maybe he's not related to us or anything. But still, at least we can see. What happens when it comes to aeroplane? There also, we are actually putting in faith in the company. They have actually hired, properly trained someone, hired someone with the right mindset. And this particular person will actually take me to my destination safely. Again, we don't know what his mental status is at that point of time when he's actually flying the plane. Do we know that? Actually, if you see statistically also, planes have lesser accidents when you compare to actually go when you go in when it comes to road, right? But we put in a lot of faith. Here, hospital, everyone is masked. You can't even see who they are. Right? They have got various kind of sharp objects in their hand, and they're going to tear you open. What happens? What if they forget to take out one part and forget to put that? Right? There was a case, no? There was a case that someone had actually put in a scissor and they stitched it up. I know. The inbuilt towel also. Right? So we put in a lot of faith. In our daily life, we put in a lot of faith. Even when we are actually putting our kids to a school. Right? We put in a lot of faith in the school that they are going to teach the right kind of things to my kid. Though we do speak to a lot of parents and all, we put faith. Anything to start off, you need faith. A little faith is required. Restaurant. You don't know what is really happening. Right? What is really happening in the restaurant. And I have a friend, my brother's friend, who actually used to be, he had done hotel management and used to work for one of the big five-star hotels. If you hear the cases from him, you will never go to a hotel. You will never go to a hotel and have food. No, you don't know. You order, you take the menu out, you see nice paneer, right? Aloo and all this, and mouth is already watering. Right? We are so hungry. Right? We see the dishes actually moving to other table and we are looking at those dishes. Right? But do we really know what is really happening behind? What is the mindset of the cook? What is he doing with the food? We are paying, we want to enjoy a meal. We think that he will cook it nicely, hygienically, and he'll serve it to me. That's the hope that we have. I'm not telling you what really happened in that hotel. But if after the class, if you want to ask, I'll tell you. Right? So it's very important to put in faith. In scriptures, it is said, first is Adho Shraddha. To begin anything in your life, be it material, you need to have faith. Even when you go to school, whatever my teacher is going to teach me is the right knowledge. I put in some faith. My parents have put in some faith in the teacher. Even when it comes to spirituality, the first thing is you have to put in some faith. Everything starts from a little faith. And it's very important. And only after Adho Shraddha, it is Sadhu Sangha. That's when you have faith, a little faith, associate with people who have faith. That will build faith stronger. You all came here because you had some faith. Now the faith is building because you are in the association of devotees. Because everyone is trying to seek, everyone is a seeker, right? Everyone is trying to understand Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? So that's why we say it's like-minded people, or sadhu sangha we say. So that's very important when it comes to spirituality. Another thing is that when it comes to Vedic texts, everything is logical, right? And it doesn't. So there are so many people when it comes to different faiths also, right? Different faith I have heard when we talk about our philosophy, how it works. When we talk about Punarjanma and the various logical things that we talk, there are people from other faith who say that, Prabhuji, what you spoken, I completely agree and it makes sense to me. But in our faith, we don't believe in rebirth. So even though I quote them slokas from Bhagavad Gita, I say, Dehinosmi Natade Kaumaram, like, you know that, Kaumaram Jara, Tata Dehantara Praptir, Tiras Tatrano Moyati. So just like how from boyhood to adulthood to old age, our body keeps changing. A similar way, once we die, the soul moves to a new body. He says that's fine. That's fine. But in our philosophy, we don't believe in rebirth. So then I said to him, then how is so we understand the Lord is all merciful, right? It's all loving. So why do we see so many different kinds of people in the world? Right? Some are born in a very rich family, some are born in a very poor family, right? Some kids are disabled, some kids have disabilities, some kids have no disabilities, very strong kids. Why such? Yeah, why such different things, right? Yeah, huh. So then I said that why such? So again, they say that Lord is actually testing. So I said that is again not a logical answer, right? Why would he do that? Because he is all merciful, he's all loving. If that's the case, he loves everyone, he put everyone in the same thing, right? So and then I asked, do you believe in the concept of cause and effect? That whatever you do good things will come to you. Whatever bad you do, bad things will come. He said, yes, that we believe. So this particular child born in this particular way, there should have been a cause. So he is born right now like this. He certainly hasn't done anything in this life. Right? The poor thing was born. For the logical reasoning, we understand that there is a history. So when we give logical, and this is the only logical reason. So when he gave logical reason, that's when he started thinking, yes, makes sense. Right? So even when we actually talk about our scriptures, we can always question. Even when it comes to our scriptures, if you see a scripture, Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, it is not something that a set of rules that you need to follow. I give you commandments and you need to follow. In this, always someone is asking questions and it is getting answered. Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is asking questions and Lord is actually answering him. Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions, Sukdev Goswami is answering the questions. Right? So it's always questioning and then getting your answer. And then we understood in a certain way that in our previous classes, the way of questioning also. There are times that people question in a very challenging way. Right? And there are questions like this. There was one person who asked in a very challenging way, Prabhuji, we all heard about when the Islam rulers actually attacked a lot of temples in Vrindavan. And devotees actually had to take the deities and put them in a safe place. And you said that the Lord is omnipotent, he's very powerful. Right? So how is it true? Either you're saying the Lord is that one thing is wrong, that either you say that it's not called idol, it's called deity, and you say that the Lord is omnipotent. So two things I'm finding it wrong. Either the Lord is not omnipotent, or what you said is wrong, that Lord is omnipotent, or either the deity is Lord is not there. Which of that is true? Does anybody have an answer to this? When Islamists or the invaders actually attacked, right? And there were devotees actually who took the deities of the Lord for safeguarding. So why didn't Lord protect himself? Say at this a lot of time when we're getting asked these questions, sort of I got a little irritated. But actually, it's a right question, right? It's a theology. We need to answer these questions. Does anybody know why? Any old Gita students also can answer. Anyone who knows the answer? Why? Lord tests the devotee. Okay. Okay. Fine. I'll take that, but I need a little more stronger and convincing answer. Little more. What could be the reason? Karma of? Lord doesn't come as the purview of karma. That is for us.
The way in the battle, Vishnu Kama forced Krishna to raise the center.
Okay.
Like that, where God wants to protect the Vishnu Kama place, that in the place of in the war, he will put that Vishnu Kama as raised.
Correct. Lord will go to any extent to say his devotee is right. But here, why could Lord protect himself? We say it's Archa Vigraha. Lord is already there in the Vigraha. Right? We say that. Yes, do you have an answer?
and you be my faith. So God becomes the priest. So the priest becomes the God for that day. He stands there. So suddenly that one day goes on and something that happens happens. So Atif comes. He is basically a priest Papa. So but he still is worried about the time. So someone goes explain the I forgot the name. So he kept his gold there, trusting God. He kept, and he went somewhere to do some work. I don't remember. So the priest came. He was asking, he didn't believe in God, but every year that everybody needed to ask God, he do that. So when the temple, the same temple went praise to God. So like God, my parents have been they have very clear God. I need money, but I don't have money right now. So he goes there, he thanks God and takes the money. But some people saw that and the gold person comes again after this. He sees there is no gold. Actually, he offers that gold for God. He comes there to the God, but actually he doesn't see the God there. I mean the gold. So he asks people around the temple. They say that some say that they don't know what happened, but some say that the person didn't. And he asks a person, I think he went to go to a person who to say that the person says that they gold. And but then actually the person says that the person did it, but actually the person says no, I didn't do it. But that God was he suddenly talked there and they said no, again to be gold, to be gold. So but then after that the gold man, so the person who did the gold, he made a gold to him and asked that this please took my gold to have to do some certain expense. So this guy will go to that priest and he is taking punishment, but then the parents will die there because of the person who took their life. And so yeah, that happened. But he had help and God money. It is something to block. So they say that God constructed the temple. So God came there and he also came out of the Vietnam. God was like, why did you do this? Why did you answer? God will answer first of all. You should not speak you should not utter one word also. He is my regular conversation. But he couldn't see that a person is just, holding for one thing. So when the God says that, but then God, if I didn't answer that, the person will go to prison. But the God says that if the thief has took that money and helped the parent, at least he will get one punya. He did many papas, but at least his punya was not his papa and all. And the person who got scolding from the thief for taking the gold, but he didn't take the gold. The person was traveling somewhere to get the gold. If he so if he had gone went to prison, he was not traveling, but if he travels, he is gonna die in the ship. It was underwater, and he who offered gold. That gold is actually not to that person, not that specific person. He actually took it from house, he robbed that gold, and gave it to God. If God wants power in his life, he has
Okay. So again, but you still haven't answered why God didn't protect himself. Almost there. I need something a little more strong. Almost there. Then how is God omnipotent? We say God is omnipotent, right? He's very strong. Can't protect himself. I'll give you an answer. Okay. See, whenever God advents, he comes for a purpose. Right? Whenever he advents, he comes for a purpose. So when he comes into Archa Vigraha, when we do Prana Pratishtha, who does he come for? Comes for his devotees. Does he come for anyone else? He comes for his devotees. And why does he come? It is for the loving reciprocation. It is only for the loving reciprocation between the devotees. Right? So that's why we have devotees who are constantly serving the Lord, right? Dressing him up, serving the Lord, offering him bhoga, taking care of him, right? And this is the way Lord also reciprocates to that particular devotee. We have so many stories, right, of Lord reciprocating to that devotee. So whenever Lord comes, he comes for a certain purpose, right? When he comes into the Archa Vigraha, it is actually to have a loving relationship with his devotee. If I give you an example, Lord, right? Lord, who is all powerful, right? Why did he let Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya let them protect him? Because they are his devotees. Does he need protection? But he needs the love, right? So one way to understand this is when it comes to Archa Vigraha, Lord comes for the loving relationship between his devotees. He comes for the devotees, right? And there are loving exchanges between the devotee and the Lord. You don't need to, the omnipotence part of Lord is taken care by the material energy. Fraction of his, the snap of his finger, there is a big tsunami, there's a big earthquake, a person who has actually harmed him, snap of his finger, there can be a heart attack. He doesn't need to do anything. That's all his material energy will do for him. So when it comes to Archa Vigraha, Lord comes in the form of Archa Vigraha to take our loving exchanges, to develop that. And he comes for every advent, he comes for a purpose. So when he came as Narsingadev, did he stand there? No, right? He killed Hiranyakashipu. So every advent of the Lord has got a purpose. And this was, and he comes for the devotees. Yeah, so that is the way to understand. So be scientific. We have already spoken about this. The way when it comes to be scientific, there are certain process which we don't follow. We understand. We take an aim to understand Bhagavad Gita works or not. Ultimately, we go to a conclusion. It doesn't work. What about the things that are there in between? There is apparatus. What is apparatus? Bhagavad Gita. What is the procedure? Read and implement the principles of Bhagavad Gita in your life. And what is the observation? Observation is see if it works for you or if it doesn't work for you. Then you come into a conclusion if Bhagavad Gita works or not. Right now, what is happening is just the two steps you take. First one is aim, last one is conclusion. Doesn't work at all. ये सब मैंने पढ़ा है, right? So actually, if you see a lot of things, we are also blind followers. I spoke about this, right? We are also following things blindly only. But only when it comes to religion, people actually pick fingers and say it is blind faith. Or faith is associated to anything that is religious. But in our daily life, we put faith in everything that we do, right? And it's very important in our material life or our spiritual life to have some kind of faith to start off anything. Right? You understand that faith is the start for anything. Adav Shraddha, and then there is Sadhu Sangha. So be scientific, don't be a blind follower. right? So we understood from the great personalities, the Madhvacharya, Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya. So these are the people that who have already established saying that these things work, and they are always preaching and propagating the divine wisdom of the Lord, right? They are not fools to actually tell that this works, right? It is very important for us to follow in that path, right? And for that reason, I say that daily practice is very important. So it's nice that we meet on every Sunday. It's very nice. But not just hearing the class, that is not that hearing the class and actually questioning. Questioning is good. Please question. But you should not stop there, right? When it comes to any kind of understanding, we should try and practice it as well. Okay, so we need to practice what you are learning also. So everything when it comes to Bhagavad Gita, we have to not just the Sunday class that we need to attend. It's good that you all attend the Sunday class. It's nice to see such a big crowd actually coming on a Sunday. But the thing is that you should start reading the Bhagavad Gita. And it's very important. We have this, when it comes to ISKCON, right? We do this every 2 months, something called as Gita Jayanti. Can the kids come inside and not make noise? Hare Krishna. Please sit. The class is not over. I'll take another 5 minutes. I'll take another 10 minutes. Okay. So what we do something called as Gita Jayanti, and it's very important that we actually go. And in this, what we mean by Gita Jayanti is that in the month of December, it is where it is said that the Lord is that is when the Lord actually gave this knowledge, divine knowledge, to Arjuna. So as his devotees, we actually go out on the road and actually give Bhagavad Gita. You would have seen a lot of ISKCON devotees on the road, right? And this is very important. So when it comes to, because books make a lot of difference. Even when you talk about communism, how it spread in Russia, how it spread in China, it's only through books and magazines, right? It has got a lot of impact. You see the kind of communism, how it spread, right? So if we want to talk about God consciousness, you want to spread God consciousness, we have to spread the books. We have to spread this wisdom, right? And it's also considered to be very auspicious to actually purchase. If you don't have Bhagavad Gita with you, your own personal copy, I would suggest that you actually go pick a copy for yourself. It's a nice occasion. It's Gita Jayanti to bring home a Bhagavad Gita. And if you already have it, and if you have friends, family, and there is a occasion that is coming up, birthday, anniversary, it's nice to give. It's nice to gift as well. So don't just stop because you have a copy. You can gift it to someone as well, right? And this is one of the ways that you can actually spread this knowledge. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that those who actually spread this knowledge, this divine knowledge given by me, is very dear to me. So one of the ways to get in the good books of Lord Krishna is actually by spreading this knowledge. Right? So please do take a copy for yourself. If you don't have a copy, make sure that you gift it to someone if there is any kind of special occasion, right? You can gift it to them. That's very nice. Right? And I have a few announcements. Right. See, every Sunday we come, we actually enjoy a very nice feast, right? And we have a kitchen downstairs, Food for Life, Sarjapur kitchen. We have a kitchen downstairs itself. They're there. They're there. And I just wanted to call out the names of the devotees who are actually cooking in our kitchen. Right? Every day they prepare meals and we actually distribute it down to all the people around. In the month of Kartik, we actually distributed 10,000 plates of prasadam, right? And various slum areas in the region of Kodati, all the devotees came out and they were distributing it. So it is not something ordinary, right? Krishna Prasadam is something that is a divine presence of the Lord Himself in the form of food, right? And though it may not be very easily accessible for people of that status, it is important for us to actually do something from our end. And one of the ways is that we give them prasadam. Now, when it comes to Srila Prabhupada, he says that if there is a temple, ISKCON temple, people around 10 kilometers or 5 kilometers around should never go hungry, right? And that is one of the things that our Acharya has already told. And we have started this in a very small way, and we are very lucky that we have the kitchen in our Sarjapur center. So today, Puji, can you, I would like to call them out. Yeah. So these are the devotees who are helping. You haven't come? So also today's prasadam sponsors, there are two families who actually sponsored prasadam. So they want to keep their name anonymous, right? One is for the kid's birthday and another is for a marriage, right? So anyways, we keep it anonymous, but we need to make a prayer for them. Well, let's all chant one time for them, right? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay. Yes, I hear. Okay. I think the cooks are a little busy. So what we'll do is actually we finish the Damodar Ashtakam. Once that is done, I'll introduce the cooks. Okay. Okay then. Just wanted to see if you have any questions before we start the mantra meditation for 5 minutes. Any questions that you all have? Yes. One second. Yes. Parampara or Sampradaya, it's something called as disciplic succession. Guru and disciple. Guru and disciple. So a guru teaches me and I learn and apply. Then I teach someone. I become the guru and he becomes a disciple. So this is a parampara that we follow. It's a lineage that we follow from the Lord Himself. Yeah, that is the word. Any other questions pertaining to today's class or any other question that you all had? Yes, Matu. Mate, I can't hear. Once again, kids, can you all 5 more minutes, please? हाँ. So even Lord Krishna says that He is there in everything and He is not there in anything also, right? So that it's a very difficult concept